You know, people talk about BMWs as if they've always been these big, complex, grown-up bikes for grown-up people. The sort of bike you get after you've settled down. But this one's different. This is my F650 Strada. It's half Italian, half Austrian, but it wears a BMW badge. A lot of the BMW crowd don't really like talking about the F650, but they should. Because this little oddball can tell you an awful lot about what was going on with the BMW motorcycle company towards the end of the Cold War. By the late 1980s, the BMW Group was like two completely different brands under one board. BMW cars were considered to be beautifully engineered, stylish, sporty and aspirational for any young executive. As the strapline read, they were the ultimate driving machine. BMW motorcycles were also beautifully engineered, but they were considered to be heavy, old-fashioned and something that your dad aspired to. Young people found them dull. The company almost stopped building motorcycles altogether in the late 1960s, but the release of the R90S and later Sport and Rennsport models had rejuvenated the venerable air-cooled flat twin. But these were bikes for older, more experienced riders. There was nothing for new or less experienced riders. In 1978, the R45 and the R65 were released to try and address that market, but they were just less powerful versions of the existing conservative offerings. Broadly speaking, they were a failure in capturing a share of the new rider market. By the late 1970s, BMW realised that their existing engines would struggle to meet emerging emission standards, particularly in the US, and so the K589 project was launched. The end result was the 1984 launch of the K100. A complex water-cooled inline four-cylinder machine. It was a superb piece of engineering, but the K-bikes, the K75 was launched 1 year later, were absolutely not designed for new riders. By the end of the 80s, with the Berlin Wall falling and the cultural shift emerging, BMW motorcycle sales had stalled. Around 50,000 bikes per year were leaving the factory, but this was nowhere near the volume the company desired from a mainstream brand. The average age of new owners were in their 40s or even older, and BMW was being marginalised. The hot sector in the new bike market was around the middleweights, 500 to 750cc bikes. Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha and Kawasaki all offered bikes that were light, affordable and fun for newly qualified riders. And at that time, the words light and affordable were never used when describing a BMW. Japanese bikes delivered excitement, Italian bikes exuded passion, BMW bikes promised reliability. And for young riders, promising reliability was like a barber promising you a sensible haircut. Inside BMW Motorrad, the conservatism ran deep. The leadership was engineering-led, fiercely protective of the air-cooled twin and the K-series engines, and slow to respond to market shifts. In comparison, BMW's car division was a marketing and product strategy powerhouse. It focused on lifestyle marketing, clear market segmentation for the product line, and youth-oriented aspirational branding. In short, BMW cars in the 1980s were driven by strategic marketing and product planning, not engineering tradition alone, and the results spoke for themselves. The senior BMW AG board, including the board member for R&D, Dr. Wolfgang Reitzel, looked at stagnant motorcycle sales, an ageing rider base, a booming Japanese middleweight segment, and a shrinking European touring market, and concluded that Motorrad needed to adopt the same marketing-led strategic thinking that had transformed BMW cars. BMW Motorrad needed a middleweight machine for younger and newer riders if it was going to survive. That meant something lighter, cheaper and simpler. An affordable single-cylinder machine for the mass market. And that was unthinkable in Munich, until someone proposed a radical idea. Don't build it in Germany at all. Production in Germany would make the bike uncompetitively expensive. And so they went to Italy. Aprilia, small, ambitious, and everything BMW wasn't, had the know-how to build light, lively machines. Austria's Rotax would provide the single-cylinder engine, and BMW would supply the design expertise, the badge, and the funding. What emerged was unlike any BMW before it. Chain drive, single cylinder, assembled outside Germany. The project would quietly prove that being un-BMW might just be the smartest thing BMW ever did. Next time, we'll go behind that partnership to see how an Italian factory and an Austrian engine changed the DNA of a German brand forever.